Okay, we are recording, and this is the second. This one is the Richard Nathan show. Last week was the Nathan Richard show. Well, this is the Richard Nathan show. And we will entertain you for half an hour only. So see if you can stick with us. We have two topics to talk about. First topic we're going to talk about, the very first topic.
Try to knock them out early, huh?
Yeah, see what happens, is Jews.
Jews.
Oy vey. Yeah, oy vey is right. And I speak about that because, well, I can speak about it because I am a Jew. My mother was a Jew, my father was a Jew, all my grandparents are Jews. So according to the official playbook of who's a Jew,
you're a Jew.
I'm hitting cleanup in the lineup. I mean, there's no two ways about it. So
I'm the Barack Obama of Jews.
You are the Barack Obama of Jews. Yes, your lineage is
half a Jew.
Yeah, which half, but that's neither here nor there. What bothers me about what's going on with Judaism right now is in New York City, the mayor, Bill de Blasio, was having a huge problem with the Orthodox Jews, the Hasidim, because they are refusing to wear masks or social distance, because somehow, I don't remember ever hearing about this in the Torah or anything like that, but somehow this offends them religiously, so they're refusing to do it. But also the sheer hypocrisy of religion and the uber hypocrisy of Judaism, Orthodox Judaism, is that these are the people who brought us kosher. I mean, when Mel Brooks was walking across the desert, he said, I got an idea. We don't have refrigerators. So
he called Reiner.
Yeah.
He called Reiner and he cleared it with him, and that's why we have the cool, clean water and cabbage.
Well, my understanding was that Reiner was dealing in refrigerators back then. And he gave him such a deal that he couldn't refuse it. So,
such a deal.
Yes, it was just, that's the way it goes. Now, these people.
A mensch.
Yeah.
The man was a mensch.
People who invented kosher are against a common, basic health practice that saves lives. Also, and this is another one that really just rubs me the wrong way. People think because I am a Jew, I support Israel because, yeah, you see. And
you're going to dip your toe in that water?
Yeah, I mean, what's going on in Gaza is so antithetical to anything that Jewish history would provide us with that I don't freaking get it. So I was not bar mitzvahed. My brother was, I wasn't. I never believed in it. I hate to tell you, but I don't believe in a God, so none of this really matters to me. The only reason I'm a Jew is because all the rest of you folks out there make me a Jew. That's it.
Well, that's always the case, right?
Yeah. Well, if you can convert out of it, I am sure that 6 million people during World War II would have been happy to be Presbyterians, but they couldn't convert out of it. Right? So
exactly.
Yeah. So that's it. So I think that Jews in this country first have to realize that because you're a Jew, you don't march in lockstep with Israel. And secondly, what's going on with the Orthodox Jews ought to be called out by all Jews, because if it were anybody but Orthodox Jews and they were completely disregarding health laws that impact on everybody around them, the population would be all over.
Well, there's an irony here, Rich, and the irony is that they've now lined themselves up perfectly with white supremacists. Yeah. So you have to ask yourself, when the Orthodox Jews and the Nazis basically take exactly the same position on something, there's something really wrong there.
And the New York Times reported today that Trump has an ever-growing influence in the Orthodox Jewish community.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, and that's that. I don't get that. I really don't.
Well, there's some deeply inherent racism involved in all groups, right? So, Trump's whole game is racism. There's nothing else there. You can't promise anything to anybody. They know they're going to get screwed by him, but they got an outside chance that they get to line up behind the Aryan flag again. And that's weird that the Orthodox Jews would be interested in that, but there's no love lost there with the Jews and the people of color in that part of the world.
And it's weird. I don't know what would have happened if this decree had come down from, let's say, an Anthony Weiner, whether that would have made a difference. But Bill de Blasio, we don't have to listen to the Goyim.
So it's basically these are the same people that fuck up airplanes all the time, trying not to sit next to women. So, they're working from a mythology that has no place in the world, never did.
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, so I grew up really close to Hasidic communities.
Park Slope?
Beg your pardon?
Is Park Slope where the big Hasidic community
that's where our middle son lives now. And Park Slope has a large Orthodox community, but it's not the center of it. But I never quite got it. My parents thought that they were all nuts. And, it's really weird that it's coming, this whole clash between de Blasio and the Orthodox Jews on the eve of Yom Kippur, which is the holiest of all holy days to Jews. And when you're supposed to what you're supposed to do on this holiday is contemplate how you fucked up your life so far.
Right.
That's basically it,
Yeah.
What can I do to be a better person? You can be a better person by wearing a fucking mask and staying 6 feet away from people who are not wearing a mask.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're going to say no. And that's what I have against religion. All of
it. In a nutshell, religion makes its own set of rules and then tries to shove it down our throats. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. A lot of the spreader things are caused by churches in the South and the Midwest South and heading out West. And that makes sense. They're singing and a lot of talking and people next to each other. And the problem, of course, is I've been spending time in the medical world lately, and so I'm in and out of hospitals. And hospitals, all that shit falls off because you can't get your treatment without your mask. And your people can't come in without your mask. And people get scared of dying. They get scared of feeling bad. They get scared of being sick. They get scared of pain, and they get real compliant with that.
Yeah.
But they do it at a hospital, but they won't do it at a grocery store, and they won't do it at a football game, and they won't do it at, in Chattanooga, we had Chattanooga Football Club decided to bring fans back in seating groups, right, with plenty of space. And you don't have to be near anybody. Yeah. You really could go without the mask. You're far enough away from anybody else that it would take a miracle of weird wind stuff, right? It just isn't going to happen. But people wore their masks, went to the game, felt pretty safe. But there's always a few clowns who, they wear the mask to get in the door and they rip it off immediately to show everybody they're not scared. Yeah. As if this is somehow a test of my balls rather than a test of my immune system.
And believe it or not, I really think it's still, they hate Obama so much.
I do think that having a black president just frosted those people. And the fact that he wasn't Dwayne Camacho from Idiocracy made him even madder because they know what a pro wrestler looks like when he's black, but they don't have a clue what an intellectual human being they don't know James Baldwin. They don't know, they think Spike Lee is the only black film director, and because Spike does a certain thing with his image, they don't recognize a black person who doesn't look like those people. And I think that because there's no World War II to throw everybody together in one dangerous situation, nobody's learning what other people are like.
It's very true. It's very,
and that's another thing with the Orthodox Jews. They've pulled this shit about avoiding everything they don't want to deal with for so long that it's almost as if they've said we're our own country. And they thought when they got Israel, it would be their own country. Unfortunately, generations and generations of Israelis were born who don't agree with their bullshit. And so they're having the same age battle in Israel that we're having here with things like gender constructs.
Truthfully, I really don't have any sympathy for Israel because Israel has put up with tyrannical leaders and incredible prejudice and racism for decades now.
Yeah.
Right from the top.
Yeah.
So I'm not anti-Israel as a concept. I am anti-Israel as a policy right now. I just don't agree with it.
Well, they have to. I mean, let's face it. History has shown that expansion is the one thing that keeps you from shrinking and dying. And so once you've put somebody in a place, it's like they're going to try to absorb the people that are dangerous to them. So when the UN gave Israel, they put the first shoe down and the other shoe was coming.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you can't. I mean, unless you're involved in it, quite frankly. I mean, I talk to young Israelis all the time because my favorite company for plugins for my recording programs is Israeli based. They're in Tel Aviv. And it's very interesting to talk to them because it's like here, if you talk to my daughter's friends, you talk to my friend Colton up in Louisville, you know, they're in their 20s, right? What they have to say has nothing to do with what our government policies sound like. Nothing.
Well, I keep waiting for the younger generation to take. I keep waiting for the younger generation and women to take charge.
It's coming.
I certainly hope so.
It's coming, and I don't think it can be held back. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a bold prediction that this is going to be a Senate wipeout for the Democrats.
Okay.
That whether Trump steals the election or not, that it'll be a destruction of the Republicans in the Senate because of young voters. Because you got to look at who got in. Booker, who wasn't even in the race till 5 weeks to go in Kentucky, almost beat the centrist Democrat to run. And he's black, and he got more votes in rural Kentucky than a white woman. But that's unbelievable.
I don't know. I am not up to the constitutional law on what the Supreme Court can do to either halt or overturn or adjudicate an election. I don't know what they can do. My understanding is that come January 20th, there is an installation of a president. That's it. And if no president is appointed at that time, Nancy Pelosi is president of the United States.
That should put some incentive to several different groups.
Well, you know, I don't know enough. I just don't know enough. Maybe if somebody sees this, they can educate the two of us. But anyway, my thing was on Jews and Bill de Blasio and what was your topic?
My topic is online streaming and online shows. The music business as it is today. And people put a brave face on it. But the truth of the matter is it's a fucking suckhole trap from hell that nobody wants to be involved in.
You can't make a living at it, can you?
It doesn't even matter about the living from an artistic standpoint. It's like fucking from 6 blocks away. That's called masturbating. And that's basically what it is. It's musical masturbation. There's no one there. I love to play the music. And so if I do a live show, which I haven't done in months and months and months, I don't think it's been 6 months. Well, since very early on I did some streaming stuff. And then I started to realize that, you know, I wasn't taking money for them. I was doing it donations mostly for other people. But since I wasn't doing it to make a living, it was sort of like, you know, I'm doing it for the people who might want to see me play, but I've watched enough of these shows. I've seen some nice music. I've seen some people work really hard. I've seen some highly produced professional shows with multiple cameras, which is a whole different thing. So if you can do what Springsteen can do, if you can do what Isbell can do, if you can do what those guys can do, you can present a show, right? A show, like watching Johnny Carson or something. But if you're most musicians, you look like a douchebag in your bedroom. You know, you could do it on YouTube with a little production quality. They could watch it later. It's a completely unsatisfying musical form. And anyone who says otherwise is a lying motherfucker.
It's Nathan Bell performing. You're going, oh, hi, Rich. How are you? Glad to see you.
I try not to do that, but it's more like having a party with your friends where you play tunes.
Yeah.
And that's okay every once in a while, but you don't put in the kind of work that most good performing musicians put in, the ones that can actually quiet a room and hold a show. You don't put in that kind of work to do that many parties.
Yeah.
That's not why you're there. You know, it has worked pretty well with poetry readings. It's worked pretty well with Socratic discussions between artists that people weigh in on?
Nobody's making any money at it. I mean, nobody made
Not
any.
really, no. No,
Your
it's,
dad is the only person I ever knew who actually was a poet, who worked as
well,
a.
he wasn't. He was a teacher.
I know it, but I mean, he was a poet. He wrote poetry and it got published and he got paid for it. And, you know,
You're paid for it.
yeah.
Made all his money in other places. And just like I make most of my money in other places, you know, it's
Yeah.
but the thing about it is like the whole Instagram thing. There are a couple of people out there, names, I won't mention the names. If you figure it out, good for you, who post these pictures of themselves looking beautiful somewhere
Constantly.
every fucking day
Mm-hmm.
in a field,
Yeah.
with their book of poetry they just wrote, or their new novel they just read, or a couple of sunflowers, or their mandolin they're just learning. And they're not making any money. They're just there, right? And then you got the people who, like, there's one person that pops up on my Instagram feed. She's on her 6th or 7th new t-shirt you can buy from her. And you know, I guarantee you that her credit cards don't look real good. You know, and also you can kind of tell who, when this hit, they went, oh, holy fuck, nobody's looking at me anymore. And who is trying to figure out what their coping strategy is for when the world returns to actual life rather than this online life.
Did you see Western Skies?
What's that?
Did you see Springsteen's Western Skies?
Yeah.
I was greatly disappointed. Greatly disappointed.
You were very what?
I was really disappointed in this. First off, he holds it. I don't know. I forget what state it's in, but it's Wyoming or a place like that. And he holds it in their barn. And their barn is probably worth $6 million. You know, it's just this incredible place. So he has a very limited audience in there. And the songs were fully orchestrated. No E Street Band. I mean, full orchestra. They were just completely over orchestrated. But I'll get to the point right now and move on. Between songs, he gave you his opinions on life. And you know, you're a rock and roll singer. Don't tell me how you live life, what lies really mean. You know.
Well, it seems to me that he had a moment of self-awareness when he did his Broadway show. Yeah. That may not have lasted.
Did you see that? The Broadway show?
No, but I know about the speech about how he played for working people and talked about working people. Never did as he said, took an honest day's work in his life, in his opinion.
Yeah, well, you know, that's why he was charging $150 a ticket, you know, for the working people.
You know, Springsteen was, we may have talked about this before, but when I grew up, Springsteen was the guy all the frat kids listened to and dreamed about running away from their responsibilities and being that guy with the rolled up sleeves, driving down the highway with the hot girl. Didn't expect much from him. And all the guys who went to work that I worked with listened to Seeger. Because Seeger was singing about getting laid and drinking and rock and rolling out and getting out of your small town and staying there and being happy.
Yep. Who's going to wear the gypsy leathers? One of my favorite lines, man. That guy.
Which one?
Who's going to wear the gypsy leathers?
That's a great line. There's a bunch of great lines. Seeger is the most, nobody talks about him in the top 5, but he should be there.
Yeah, he definitely should be there. Definitely should.
That's what you get for being really musical, writing great hooks, and knowing how to sing. Nobody takes you seriously.
So what's going to happen with streaming? I mean,
well, first of all, all the platforms that didn't monetize it are going to have to figure out a way to monetize it. When they do that, you know, Facebook, you can stream for free, and all these rumors about not being able to stream on there are not accurate. You can't go on there now and play a ton of cover tunes, apparently, which has more to do with the record companies saying we're not getting paid, or the publishers. But you can still do a show. It costs money to do it right on Zoom. It really does. It costs money to do it right on YouTube. But in terms of gathering money in, most of those platforms failed, you know. What were they? The one I used to use, can't remember the name of it now. It was one of those live platforms. You had to join, and they took 20%. And they very rarely ever went down, but
Yeah, but let's
people
face it.
just
I
do.
mean, I can watch and not pay anything, or I can watch and pay something. Let me
Yeah.
wait and see what they're going to
Yeah.
say. Watch and not pay anything.
Absolutely. The other thing is, in order to survive as a human being, I can't stay on Facebook. My Euro people tend to use it. A lot of the people that when I tour in the UK and in Europe, there's a 50-50 split between Instagram and Facebook for information.
Mm.
And so I've kind of stayed on Facebook, but it's just, you find yourself believing in Socratic discussion in a place where it doesn't exist, and you become frustrated and eventually go to bed angry. And so, I don't see Facebook. I don't see Facebook and Twitter as positive in any way whatsoever for the world.
I saw this cartoon once in the New Yorker. It was this guy sitting at his computer, and he's yelling into the next room, apparently to his wife, who's in bed, and he's saying, "I'll be right in. There's somebody on the internet who's still wrong."
That's about it, man. That's about it. That couldn't be better.
Yeah,
What's going on? You and I have talked about that. But as far as streaming goes, I think you have to be like, there's some friends of mine who do like a 5, 6, 7 song show every week. They just show up, they play 7 songs at the same time. I think they got it beat. I think they know what they're doing, because you're sort of there. It's a little more like a jazz club Tuesday night where you've always got the same quintet.
But I don't know to what end. I mean, what is the? Is it?
They make a little bit of money. They keep their face out there. I suppose it could have hurt my touring to let my face not be seen. I don't know. I'm really kind of baffled by all this. In that, as soon as this happened, the speed, the rapidity at which venues closed down was, I mean, if you could have that kind of emergency response in every way, in every part of the world, no one would ever die. I mean, it was dead. Everything was dead in 48 hours, bam.
I'm a huge Formula One fan, so I watch.
Yeah, it was that fast.
Yeah, and the stands are empty. I don't mean socially distanced. They don't allow anybody in, except excuse me, except this weekend, which is in Russia.
Of course.
Russians let people in.
Full fans, everybody?
No, not full fans, but the other venues don't allow any fans. They allowed some of the oligarchs and their girlfriends to populate the stands of this. It just, and I'm saying, why is Formula One there? I mean, this guy's a murderer and a thug, and all you're doing is lending credence to this creep, But
don't they have a Grand Prix in
Texas,
one of the wonderful Arab states?
Oh yeah, they just had it. UAE. Yeah. They also have
Gotta go.
They also have one in Qatar. Qatar probably has more slaves than any place in the world. Would you say? I mean,
Qatar's the Qatar's, whether they're slaves by Qatar's definition, they're slaves. Yeah.
I saw a show once where the only way they can go home is in their red boxes.
That's what I saw that too. I think. I don't understand what FIFA's doing running the World Cup there. It's shameful. And, they won't pull out because here's the thing. We live in a world now with enough money for people, but money has become the thing that matters so much that, it's like dynamite and Alfred Nobel, right?
Yeah.
You've got something that could be really useful, but it's going wrong. It's no choice.
Yeah, it's sad out there. You and I have friends on Facebook that provide us with some sort of respite, in that they actually read, they actually are aware of things.
Yeah.
But the majority, I mean, if I go onto any of my specialty sites, like if I go onto a hockey website, you would not believe the fucking ignorance. I mean,
I would. Yes, I would.
It is absolutely overwhelming.
Leslie took me to a Blackhawks game for my birthday in 1991.
Yeah.
Old Chicago Stadium. We were way up in the top. It was right after we had invaded Kuwait, right? 91. They sing the national anthem. It was so terrifying. the sound coming from the crowd and the things people were yelling, that Leslie just looked at me and I said, I don't know if it's a hockey fan thing, but it's tough. And then in between the periods, they brought out these models in stilettos, tight dresses, to try to shoot a puck into the goal from center on a carpet. On a carpet. Well, it would have been hard. It would have been hard. It's not as easy a shot as it looks unless you know how to handle a stick. And 2, the puck's heavier than you think it is. And 3, you're on stilettos. So the first girl, she basically whiffs and the thing goes off to the side. And the crowd around us of men erupts into, she'd have made that if I'd been fucking her.
Uh-huh. Well,
She should give that up and stick to sucking dick.
Well,
that's what the crowd was like.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, I've been around hockey virtually all my life, and I love the game. I won't give it up, but it's just, I think it probably equates with the football crowd.
Hockey and football have the same problem. They have a crowd full of guys who can't do it.
Well,
that's what makes them the way they are.
Yeah.
If you look at Euro football, there's this combination. What's that?
What causes a grown man to paint up his face? A guy who's in his 40s painting his face. Think about that for a second. You're painting your face in green and white because you're a Viking.
You like the movie Silver Linings Playbook?
Yeah.
That's a great movie, right? Well, one of the greatest scenes in there is when the Indian fans of the Eagles show up, all painted up for Eagles. And you sort of go, okay, that's a doctor, right? That's a psychiatrist. There is no explanation for this.
I don't get it. I simply don't get it. I've never dressed up for Halloween. I certainly did not dress up.
I'm not really. I've dressed up for Halloween, but I've never put a single. I wear my Chattanooga Football Club jersey when I go to the game, right? But I don't come in cleats.
No, you come in stilettos.
Yeah.
I've seen your legs. You probably look damn good in stilettos.
I look fine in stilettos. I look good in those old shoes from the 70s the funk bands wore because I had a pair.
Yeah.
I have length. I have length in my calves.
Well, shave your legs and you may have a whole new career.
You don't need to shave my legs anymore. The world has changed.
This is true. Well, as we're getting to the end of our allotted 30 minutes, one subject, and that is yes or no, he's going to leave peacefully if he loses.
He won't. He'll leave. He might leave peacefully. He won't leave immediately.
I don't think he'll leave peacefully. So,
well, here's the thing. If he doesn't leave peacefully, then what's the scenario, right?
What's the scenario to any other thing he's ever fucking done in the past 4 years?
Yeah, he really is. It really is. If you're looking at him strictly as a sociological experiment, he's fascinating.
Yeah, he's a sociopath to start off with. So, he's already said he doesn't foresee a peaceful transition. So, well, we have to wrap up the show, Nathan, because it's 30 minutes, and we promised our audience
just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time. So, folks, we can't tell you when the next show is going to be on, but
we don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, no,
we have no idea what it's called.
Definitely not Richard and Nathan next week. We got Nathan and Richard and Nathan. Next
Could be anything.
Something new. Yeah, Nathan and I will figure it out. And incidentally, before I leave, I played Matt Shamala's new guitars, his brand new model.
If they're as good as the old guitars.
Well, they're like the J45 size. Oh, I mean, the maple one is just to die for. It's the way to die for.
Well, I get to wear a mask all the time. I might be able to steal enough money to buy it.
All right, brother. That's it.
All right.
We don't have a
business. We don't have a catchphrase. I think it should be he had a hat.
Yeah. What is a catch? That's right. We don't have a catchphrase.
I think we should end with he had a hat.
That's right. It's a very good one. Do you want to end it?
He had a hat.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.